it's Barbara Sue at Kowalski Mountain, and welcome back to our channel. We really appreciate you watching. So today we're back in the kitchen and I am making homemade Snickers bars. Now I made these for the first time at Christmas time, and they were actually my most popular post of the year on Instagram. I wanted to make them again because it's one of those things that really helps when someone gets on the edge of being a little bit hangry. And I wanted to put some up and put them in the freezer. Now, when I was talking to Philip about making them again, he asked if I could make them more like a traditional Snickers bar dipped in chocolate rather than in little squares, more like fudge. When you dip candies in chocolate, they usually have some type of base that will firm back up, like maybe coconut oil or some shortening that will firm the chocolate up so it doesn't just run off the candy bar. The chocolate mix has simply semi-sweet chocolate and peanut butter, and I didn't feel like that was enough to firm up the chocolate base. So what I opted to do was I am going to make molded Snickers bars, and I'm hoping that that will work. I don't want to alter the recipe. We like it so much the way it is. I didn't want to take a chance of changing the consistency of it. I'm going to give it a try to make these as molded candy bars. I'm going to first make the nougat, and once I know how many squares of nougat I can get to fit into my molds, then I will add the chocolate base. So come along while I make homemade Snickers bars. Now to make the nougat layer, I need 7 ounces of marshmallow fluff, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and 1/4 cup of creamy peanut butter. Now I've pre-measured the peanut butter and the powdered sugar, and I sifted the powdered sugar as well. I want this to be really smooth and I don't want it to have clumps of sugar in it. But I haven't measured the fluff yet because I wanted to show that to you. Now the easiest way to measure fluff is going to be on a scale. So I have my food scale and I've tared it out with this bowl, so I know that I'm not getting the measurement of the bowl. Now I have only a little bit of fluff left in this jar. So right now we're at 3.2 ounces. I'll stand that up in the jar so not to make a sticky mess. And we need a total of 7 ounces. Oh wow, that's dead on. Exactly 7 ounces. I couldn't have done that if I wanted to. Now I'm going to add the marshmallow fluff to my bowl. And I probably should have measured it into this bowl. That would have been best. Now the recipe tells you to use a wooden spoon. And actually there's a really good reason for that. This is probably the most difficult part of the recipe, is stirring the nougat. I'm going to go ahead and add my 1/4 cup of peanut butter. And this is creamy peanut butter. And I've pre-measured that for you. Next I'm going to add my 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. And that is sifted. And now I'm going to stir it together. Now right now it's pretty easy to stir, but as I get this thicker, it's going to get more difficult. Now like I said, this is the hardest part, to get this to blend up. Now once it's mixed, it's going to form a thick layer of nougat. The next step is going to be to put the nougat into my pan. I'm going to layer the pan with parchment paper to make it easier to lift out of the pan when I want to cut it. Now I learned a little trick from Erin at the Cedar Chest Farm about how to best use your parchment paper. And let me show you what it is. When you first use the parchment paper, it's like a sheet with a roll to it because it's been on a roll. But if you crumple it up, it fits much better into your pan and allows you to mold it to the space. It's a genius hack. Thank you, Erin. So I've been able to fit the paper really well into the corners of the pan so that I'm going to utilize the entire pan. Now it's time to spread the nougat into the pan. Now I want to make these as even as possible. Now the next step is to sprinkle 1 cup of unsalted dry roasted peanuts. Now I'm going to spread those out, and you know what? I think I'm going to put a few more peanuts. I'm going to press those down into the nougat. And I didn't chop the peanuts, they're whole just the way they came out of the jar. Philip and I have sold our home because we are working to get debt-free to move to the homestead as quickly as possible. And we're living in an RV. So one of the things about an RV kitchen is this is the whole thing. This is my entire kitchen. And so I've always been the kind of person who likes to keep up with my dishes as I cooked. But in an RV, it's even more important because I don't have room for all the dishes. So I'm just going to take a minute and get these washed up. All right, that's better. We're moving to the stove now, and it's time to mix up the caramel layer. It calls for a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, and 11 ounces of caramels, and I've already unwrapped these. We're going to go ahead and melt these. I have my heat on medium heat. I'm going to really watch this and stir this to keep it from burning. I want to make sure that the caramels are melted and the cream is well mixed together. All of these things are really hard to do with one hand. Just about there. Now that the caramel is melted, we're going to pour it right over the peanuts. Spread that really good. I want to be really careful to spread it all the way to the edge, because these edge pieces are going to get used as well. And I want them to have a full amount of caramel just like the center. And there we go. Now this is going to go into the freezer and we're going to let this set. Alright, so the nougat and caramel layer has been in the freezer for maybe 20 minutes. I did end up putting it in my big freezer, which is a lot colder than this one, to firm it up a little bit faster. Now I'm going to just lift that out. And I'm going to peel down the layer here. Peeling that down. There. You can see that that's still pretty flexible, but it's set. Now my molds are about 1 1/4 wide and 3 inches long, so I need to cut my nougat small enough to fit in that. There. And that is, oh good, these are a little bit longer than 6. So I can't just cut that in half. I'm probably going to have to go the other way, honestly. Let's do these about 2 1/2. See how that's going to fit. And that's going to fit perfect. So I need to cut the rest to be about that size. And I think I need to go the other way. I'm just going to make some marks here because I want these to fit. So I'm going to do right here, here, there. So let's go ahead and cut that. It wasn't very straight. And I can already feel this getting softer. Okay. And that last piece is actually pretty close too. Oh, that's right at 2 inches, so that'll be fine. Okay, so now we're going to cut these into smaller than 1 inch. Those are going to be perfect. Because I want it to have some chocolate around it. Cut 2 at a time here. Okay, one more to cut. Alright, so I'm going to put this back onto that tray. And I'm going to put these back into the freezer until I have the chocolate ready. But I needed to know how many I was going to get out of this recipe because I haven't done this yet. So how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 32. And my molds have a dozen. So I'm going to have to do these in batches. This is going to go back. So this is a cup of chocolate chips and 3 tablespoons of creamy peanut butter. And I've melted it in the microwave for 1 minute. And I'm going to stir it until smooth. Alright. Now I'm going to use my spoon see RV problems. I actually have this tray sitting across my sink to give me a little bit more work surface. Now I'm going to put this chocolate a little bit more than I think I need. Maybe about, I'm going to say, not quite half full. And then I'm going to take my nougat and I'm going to put my caramel layer down. And I'm just going to gently push that down into the chocolate. And then I'm going to cover that up. So it's just a little over half full. And that nougat looks a little bit big. And I'm going to put caramel side down and gently push that down into the chocolate and then cover it up. It's a little over half. Caramel side down. Gently pushing it into the chocolate. I don't want it to go all the way to the bottom because I want there to be a chocolate layer on top. About half full. And take my nougat layer, caramel side down, gently pushing it into the chocolate, and just a little cover on top. There. Now this time I mixed up 2 cups of chocolate chips with 6 tablespoons of peanut butter. I've used up that whole thing of chocolate and I need to melt some more. If you notice, I'm washing my bowl in between each batch of melted chocolate. And that's because I don't want to let the already melted chocolate burn while I'm melting the next batch. Now since I have just a few left, I'm going to take this opportunity to see how it works to just dip the nougat chunks into the chocolate and see if it'll set up. I'm not positive of the results, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try because if that works, it's a lot easier process than filling the molds. So let's see if it works. All right, I've got my nougat. Just dump that right there in the chocolate. I'm going to kind of shake it off a little bit. There. It's looking pretty good, actually. Shaking it off. And I'm just going to use the knife to pop it off. I'm encouraged. It actually looks pretty good. I think I could have got away with it. Trying to shake off some of the excess. And there. I'm actually pretty happy with that. That worked out really well. So we'll see how they compare with the molded ones. All right, it's time to take these out of their molds and see how they came out. They've been in the freezer for 2 hours, so let's see how we did. These silicone molds are great. You can push them right on out. Oh, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to see. These look amazing. Perfect. I'm so pleased with these. These look amazing. Just enough to stave off some of the hangry and get you by. These look absolutely amazing. I'm so pleased with how these came out. I'm going to wrap these up individually and I'm going to keep them in the freezer, and we can use them whenever we need a Snickers bar. Thank you so much for watching, friends. We really appreciate you watching us here at Kowalski Mountain. If you enjoyed this video, please share it on your social media accounts and help us grow. That's our goal. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit the button so you don't miss a single video. See you later, friends.